I'm Ricky Brown, president of Brown Manufacturing in Ozark, Alabama, and we started working with the Hardin farm, Jerril and Leo Hardin, back in 1972, and we built the first strip tillage unit with an in-row subsoiling and strip tillage. In 72, built the first 2-row, and then the next year we built a 4-row, and then started in production after that and got up to 800 row units a year. And how it started in the South was they had a Coulter type no-till planter brought in from Kentucky, and the Soil Conservation Service held a field day on their farm. But the brothers got on the back side of the field and took a regular subsoiler and subsoiled the field, and then took that planter that they had planted with up by the road and went in the back to the subsoil and went perpendicular across the subsoiler slots. And then as the corn grew, that over the near the subsoil slot was a lot taller than that was out in the middles. So they said, well, we'll need to go to town and buy a machine that's got a subsoiler in front of the planter. Well, there was no such thing. So being the inventive brothers that they were, especially Jerril, he's worked in the shop forever. In fact, I think he owns 19 patents now. And so they helped design it. They got us involved because we were a manufacturer, and they knew us. We were about 30 miles apart from the farm. So anyway, that's how it got started. And we built the very first one in 1972. And in 1980, then we revolutionized it or redesigned it totally. And the units, the strip tillage units today are exactly like we were building in 1980. So the technology has been around a long time. It got a little too big for us, and in 1981, I think it was, we sold our patents to the Bush Hog Corporation. And then they called it a precision applied tillage, I think was the term that they used. And they were in it for a few years, and for whatever reason they abandoned it. But of course now it's about 80% of the cotton is grown strip tillage now in the whole U.S. So we were on the right track. We just didn't last long enough. We didn't pursue it hard enough. We were at least 20 years ahead of our time, and so that's the story of that, and that's the history. That's how it started, by subsoiling on the back side of a field where you couldn't see it from the road, and then planting perpendicular to it, and the corn grew much better over the slots, and that's where they started. That's how it got started. Back in the 70s and 80s, the dealers didn't want you to use no-till or strip-till or anything, because you use less hours on your tractor. And they're in the business of selling tractors, and they wanted you to use them, and break the land and so forth. But due to saving soil and keeping the water clean and so forth, it's just a good system all the way around. It just works for everybody. In the South, we're heavily involved in growing peanuts, and they don't grow them all over the U.S. It's in spots here and there, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, some in Arkansas, some in Texas, but that's basically the innovations that have come out of the South that I'm aware of at this moment. We worked very, very heavily with the government at that point. Was called the Soil Conservation Service, and we put on demonstrations all over the Southeast. And I personally worked 2 years planting corn and soybeans on Auburn University's 9 experiment stations and using strip tillage. It wasn't no-till, it wasn't mulch farming, but it was in-row subsoiling. And I personally did that. Our company did it 3 years. I did it personally for 2 years on 9 different substations.
So it must be satisfying to you to see how far strip-till has come.
It really is satisfying, and also it's a tremendous missed opportunity for me. But that's okay. People are thriving with it, and I'm proud for them. So, but the old saying about the pioneer, that's the fellow with a face in the mud and an arrow in his back, and we were the pioneers of it to start with. Somebody's got to start it, and we're glad we did, because it has helped people around the whole nation. So we have no regrets. We're glad they're doing it. Glad they're doing it.